Oh, but I heard if I want to draw characters for my story, I have to know anatomy well, so I spent like a month studying the torso.
Oh, nice. What story is it?
Oh, it's set in Antarctica.
That was me for years. Study fundamentals, perspective, color theory, composition, anatomy. Yes, all good things. But in all that time, I never stopped to try to figure out exactly what my drawings needed to improve. I just had no idea. I was going random. So today, I want to share with you what got me out of learning Hale, and I promise, at the end of this video, you will know exactly what the next step to improve your art is. Let's go. To get good fast, you need to have a clear idea of where you're going. And do you know where you're going? Like, you probably heard that you have to use a reference when you draw. Something like this. And that's good when you work on a finished piece on your own, but when your focus is improving, you need to use this kind of reference. Like, I assume there are at least a few artists you admire and say, oh man, I really want to draw a paint like that. So, step one is to pick one. Pick one and use it as a role model, or let's call it your guide. So, if you're like me, there are many artists you like, but for the sake of simplicity, just please choose one. And it can be a single artist or an IP, like I chose Granblue Fantasy because it has a very uniform style. And if you find it hard to choose or have a lot of contenders, it might be good to just pick one that not only published a lot of artwork that is fairly consistent in style, but ideally also has some process videos, breakdowns, or tutorials maybe. Because you want to make it as easy as possible for you to understand their process. Again, don't worry if all they have is finished art, because that's absolutely fine. That's what most people work with, so don't sweat it. I want you to take your time when you do this. Don't rush it. Choose wisely, because you're gonna stick with this for bare minimum 2 months. And once you have this guide, step 2 is to make a finished piece pretending to be the artist. Now, it doesn't have to be a copy. Actually, it must not be a copy. You can do master copies as well, but for this exercise, I want you to make an artwork as if you are your guide artist. Again, if you're lucky, you have some process videos or tutorials from your guide you can follow, but if not, just try your best to imagine what sort of process the artist might have followed to make this finished piece. And it does not have to be perfect. Just do your best and take it as close as you realistically can. The trick here is, now you do know what a finished piece has to look like for you. Just do your best and then move on to step 3 when you're finished, which involves pain. Yes, put your artwork, the one you just finished, right next to the others from your guide, like this example I made. And when you do this, you're probably gonna think, oh man, I suck. But wait! Put away that rope that you were planning on using to hang yourself for a second and listen to me. I want you to pause this video in a few, and in the example I drew, find the worst offender. So compare it to the artwork around it and find the most significant difference. I want you to be specific. Like, is it the line quality? Is it the values, the composition, anything like that? I want you to come up with just one single aspect of my example drawing that needs to be improved, such that by doing it, everything else in the picture will look better. So pause now and find that stinker. Done? Let me know in the comments below what your opinion was. And before I tell you what I think it actually is, if you had trouble figuring this out and really don't know what to look for in a picture when critiquing it, I actually made a totally free self-critique PDF guide that you can find in the video description. Just join my mailing list to get it. Don't worry, I'm not gonna spam you. Again, it's completely free and I think it's gonna help you immensely. But okay, I'm gonna tell you now what the worst offender is, in my opinion, for this example piece. And I think it's the lack of volume of the character. And here comes step 4, which is to actually work on the stinker daily for at least 2 weeks. Of course, your mileage may vary. So in my example, because it lacks volume, I want to focus on understanding spatial awareness and how to make the forms look three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface. But I will do daily exercises to strengthen this understanding. That might involve drawing simple volumes, cross contours, mannequins. Also, because you do have a specific question now, if you have really no idea how to work on that weakness, just ask. You can go on Reddit or any art community you know. For example, I have a Discord specifically for this. You can find the link in the video description again, because I see most people just go online and ask, how do I improve? That means nothing. There is no reference, there is no guide, there is no ideal to reach. How can you ask for a direction without specifying where you're going? Any direction is fine at that point, just move anywhere. But you do know what to ask. You have clarity. And once you decide the exercise you have to do, practice. But wait, how do you go about that? How do you practice? Well, here is where the science comes in. When we do something, a specific set of neurons fire together. And if we do that enough times and with enough focus, thanks to a phenomenon called neuroplasticity, our brain, being lazy as it is, will adapt and make that command easier to execute to use less resources by literally creating new pathways between the neurons that fire together. So you see where I'm getting? The reason why I want you to choose one artist and choose one weakness at a time is because it leverages the growth quality of our brain at its maximum. So when you practice, do not focus on quality, focus on quantity. Put in those reps. If your figures are stiff, do not, and I repeat, do not draw 5 or 10 complete figures in those 2 weeks, because that's going to be a waste of time. Draw hundreds of simple gestures. Stop at the gesture. The more reps you put in, that is, the more times you repeat the same action over and over, and the more you learn it. Be aware also that you should not cram them all into a single day, but space them out a little bit every day, because your brain needs time, obviously, kind of like working out, to recover. And while focusing and repetition trigger neuroplasticity, it's actually when you sleep or deep rest that the neural pathways are formed. So obviously, I am not telling you to completely turn off your brain and draw thousands of figures, but be mindful, because you actually have to focus. So try to set aside at least maybe an hour a day minimum. When you turn off your phone, turn off everything that is not related to your task and just do it. Then, every new day, try to assess what went wrong the previous day on that one thing and do your best to improve just a little bit upon it. Also, this is kind of taxing and you might be losing motivation at some point. Try your best to make it fun. I know it sounds obvious, but when we are involved in an activity we enjoy, we actually learn much faster. So maybe try to gamify your learning, like set a target number of reps or a number of figures you want to draw and see what you can do. Then after like 2 weeks or a month or 2, as you like, move to step 5, which is really go back to step 2. So make another piece inspired by the same guide. Why? Because you want to compare them. Hopefully by now your worst offender has improved. So you can move to the next one. Compare, again, same thing, compare them, choose the worst offender, work on it. Or you can decide, you know what, I actually enjoyed that, or maybe I need a little more work on that. I'm gonna keep working on it. Whatever you choose, you are in charge. Do not let others pick a direction for you, because it might be the wrong one. Because you know what you value, you know what you like. So make the destination obvious first and then start walking. And of course, if along the way you find that, you know what, I'm kind of over this style now, I want to try that other style, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you stick to one for at least a few months so that you can actually see the improvement, okay? Well, I hope that was useful and you'll actually apply what you learned in this video. So after smashing that like button and subscribing, close YouTube, do some soul searching to figure out what your guide is and what you like, and get to work. All right, take care.